Hi everybody, Mark Moorhead, Curator of Education here at the Hall of Flame Museum, the world's largest historical firefighting museum here in Phoenix, Arizona, where if you can't come in to see the museum, we like to bring the museum to you. And today, why Dalmatians? One of the commonest questions we get here at the Hall of Flame Museum of Firefighting is, what's with the Dalmatians? Why are Dalmatians thought of as kind of the firehouse dog? And it's a great question. One of the answers is they're not as much as they used to be. When I was a kid, certainly I always thought of the Dalmatians as sort of the symbolic, typical, stereotypical dog of the fire service. Little kids that I see on the tours that come through here nowadays, they don't necessarily think of Dalmatians that way. They think of them from those Disney movies. But there is a reason why Dalmatians were once particularly associated with the fire service. And the reason is that if you ever watch, one of the big dog shows or something like that, you'll see that Dalmatians are still classed with the working breeds. It's just that what they were bred to do mostly doesn't exist anymore. In Europe, they tended to be referred to as Dalmatians because the breed is supposed to have originated on the Dalmatia coast in what's now Croatia. In America, they were often known as coach dogs or carriage dogs. They were dogs that ran with urban horse teams, carriage teams, and they would run alongside them. And the biggest thing that they would do is they were sort of the horse's best friend. They were horse babysitters. And they would chill out the horses, kind of hang with them, keep them calm, keep them, keep them company basically. And if you ever have spent time with Dalmatians, they can sometimes be kind of nervous, high-strung dogs. And horses are kind of nervous, high-strung animals, but it's one of those things where you get the two together and they just sort of hit it off and chill each other out. But their biggest job, as hard as it may be to picture it, is they were guard dogs. Horse theft was generally, it was a huge, huge problem, maybe bigger than car theft has been for us in modern times, was horse theft in the 1800s and earlier. Part of this dog's job, part of Rosie's job here, is, if somebody came up to that horse that she didn't know, she'd bite him on the leg or bark, raise a big stink, whatever it might be. And so we have Rosie and Pete guarding our Garden Gallery 1 here, and we like them because we don't have to feed them or walk them or take them to the vet or anything. But they are big favorites of the kids when they come through here. Now, why do you suppose anybody who had horse teams might use Dalmatians with their horse teams? Budweiser, for instance, the famous Budweiser Clydesdales, they still use Dalmatians. But they became particularly associated with the fire service in part because of popular art, prints and lithographs. Lithography was one of the first times in history that just ordinary working people could have art in their homes as opposed to rich people. And a lot of the really popular themes for the early prints and lithographs was a scene of a steamer racing through the streets, and the artist would often put a couple of Dalmatians racing alongside. It's actually a little exaggerated how common they were in the fire stations. They definitely were in some fire stations, but it's not like every fire station had one. But that became, in part because of that popularity of those prints, they became very much associated in the public mind and in firefighters' minds as kind of their dog. So if you ever wonder about why Dalmatians are a big deal to firefighters and in the fire service, that is why. It goes back to the days before they had fire trucks, when they used to have horses in the fire stations, and Pete and Rosie had an important job keeping those horses calm and safe. So on that note, thanks for joining us. I'm Mark at the Hall of Flame Museum. Come and see us again.